Hi, I'm Cara from Cook, and you're watching the HerSport Energia AIL show sponsored by Energia. Think of the possibilities.
Welcome back to another episode of the HerSport Energia AIL show. I'm your host Lauren, and today we've got a super exciting episode for you. We'll be catching up on all the exciting AIL rugby action, as well as diving into some stories from the Ireland women's rugby team, who have been making waves abroad. Plus, we've got some exciting special things in store. Have you ever wanted to see two AIL rugby rivals interview each other? Well, we've got a super interview coming up where two of the Energia AIL players will be asking each other questions. Here's what you can expect in this episode. We'll discuss 4 hot topics, starting with the incredible Griffey Sisters from Wicklow. Then we'll preview the upcoming Celtic Challenge tournament kicking off on December 20th. We'll also chat about Tania Rosser's emotional interview with Newstalk Off the Ball. And finally, I've got all the latest updates on the Ireland women's rugby sevens team. Let's dive right in, starting with the Griffey Sisters. If you've been following Wicklow rugby, you may already know about Rachel, Jessica and Caitlin Griffey. They're 3 sisters who all play for the team. But it's Rachel's journey that really stands out. She's faced 3 ACL injuries over the past 8 years, including one in 2015, another in 2021, and most recently in 2023. In this interview, Rachel opened up about the mental and physical tolls that this injury has had on her, saying mentally it's kind of got tougher each one. Age doesn't help with recovery. After the most recent injury, she even wondered if she was probably done with the sport. But what's truly inspiring is that Rachel's sister Caitlin, who has been playing in Australia, came back to Ireland and encouraged her to get back into training. The bond between those two is something so special, and it's amazing to see Rachel back on the pitch for Wicklow. Wicklow Rugby is also known for its family spirit, and during the 2022 and 2023 season, they had an incredible 7 pairs of sisters playing together. We're talking about the Roberts, McConnells, Stones and Malloys. It's so heartwarming to see these family ties in action on the field. Now onto something exciting, the Celtic Challenge. This new domestic cross-border league featuring teams from Ireland, Wales and Scotland kicks off on December 22nd. The Wolfhounds will be facing off against the Clovers in what promises to be a thrilling match. This league is a huge step forward for women's rugby, giving players an elite platform to showcase their skills. It'll be played across 10 rounds, and the team with the highest standing at the end of the season will be crowned the champions. The Celtic Challenge is also a crucial pathway for future international talent, which is key to growing the game for women across these nations. A few players to keep an eye out for are Railway Union's Leigh Tarpey. She's been named on the Wolfhounds squad, Blackrock flanker, and recently named Guinness Rugby Writers of Ireland Women's 15s Player of the Year and Women's 15s Dream Team of the Year, Aoife Wafer. She'll also be playing for the Wolfhounds. Another player to watch is UL Bow's Chisholm Muguero. She'll be playing for the Clover side. Chisholm and Leah are both having a fantastic season in the Energia AIL League this year, while of course Aoife has had an incredible year on the international stage playing for Ireland's 7s and 15 squads. Last year the Wolfhounds won the Celtic Challenge and actually went undefeated in their first season. They took the win against fellow Irish side, the Clovers, in a score of 47-26. Now, let's talk about Tania Rosser. She's a true trailblazer in women's rugby. Tania has recently stepped down from her position as Leinster Rugby women's head coach as her 3-year term contract has ended. For anyone who's not familiar with Tania's career, she's originally from New Zealand. She played scrum half and represented Leinster for 10 years. and earned a whopping 58 caps for Ireland. She featured in 3 Rugby World Cups during her time with Ireland, including the 2014 tournament where she earned her 50th cap with the memorable victory over her native, New Zealand. Recently, Tania shared her experiences on Newstalk Off the Ball, where she opened up about the challenges of working in a male-dominated profession. One story that stood out to me actually was when she was breastfeeding her son in a rugby club and was told she couldn't breastfeed while in the rugby club and would need to do that in the car. Tania, now I'm paraphrasing, but she said, "He's my child, I'm a mother, I'm going to feed him." Stories like this really highlight how far we've come, but also remind us of how much further we still have to go in terms of equality in women in rugby. Now, let's celebrate some exciting individual milestones. Eve Higgins, one of the stars of the Ireland Sevens team, recently earned her 50th International Sevens cap. She's represented Ireland in prestigious competitions like the HSBC Sevens Series, the Olympic Games, and Rugby World Cup Sevens. It's an incredible achievement and really highlights her contributions to women's rugby in Ireland. And speaking of milestones, Amee Murphy-Crowe made history by becoming the first Irish player, male or female, to score 200 tries in the HSBC Sevens Series. She's only the 3rd woman in World Series history to reach that mark. What an achievement. But it's not all good news. The Ireland Women's Sevens team recently competed in the HSBC Sevens Series in Cape Town, but unfortunately they missed out on a semi-final spot after a tough 15-0 loss to France. What made this even harder was that Ireland was down to just 10 fit players due to a bacterial infection that impacted both the men's and women's squads. Despite this, Megan Byrne stepped up as captain for the first time, showing incredible leadership. The team's resilience in the face of adversity was truly inspiring. And finally, a tough update from the Sevens circuits. Beibhinn Parsons, one of Ireland's brightest stars, has broken her leg for the 2nd time in just 4 months. Her first break happened during the Paris Olympic Games, and now she's injured again during the World Sevens Series in Cape Town. With the Six Nations coming up next year, this is a big blow for Beibhinn, but if anyone can bounce back, it's her. We're all wishing her a very speedy recovery. Now we'll take a look at the round 9 game highlights. Old Belvo 60, Tullow 0. Belvedere scored their 4th victory with another dominant display, extending their winning streak with an average margin of 34 points. Their back 3 has been in sensational form, with Megan Edwards and Emma Tilley contributing a combined 15 tries. Edwards secured 2 more tries to her tally in this match, with Vanessa Hullen also crossing the line twice for Old Belvo. The upcoming Celtic Challenge tournament will see some crossover between these squads, with the Clover selection including Galwegians Grace Brown-Moran, Grania Moran, Nicole Fowley and Ella Burns, as well as Old Belvo players Jane Neal and Ruth Campbell. Tullow made their maiden visit to Ollie Campbell Park. Despite an improved first half performance against Blackrock College last week, they faced a tough challenge, especially with a rescheduled trip to UL Bohemians tonight. Tullow captain Grace Kelly, with 4 tries in 7 games, continues to impress at the AIL League level. However, this encounter against Old Belvo comes at a challenging time, as Tania Rosser's side is in flying form. Taking their 6th consecutive bonus point win looks like limiting the space for Old Belvedere's dangerous back 3 is Tullow's key objective. The forwards for Old Belvo have been laying a solid foundation. Megan Edwards and Emma Tilley have been taking full advantage, with their season totals now standing at 11 and 9 tries respectively. And that next matchup was Blackrock and Setonians, Blackrock 26 and Setonians 5. This was a Dublin derby. Blackrock just sitting above Old Belvedere in 3rd place, who are also enjoying a similarly strong run of form. This festive season is going to be a busy one for some Blackrock players, with 8 selected for 4 bonus point wins. However, this side needs no reminder that Setonians have previously caused them some trouble. In the same fixture, which was last March, Setonians actually claimed a 17-5 victory at Stradbrook with Julia O'Connor, a Leinster debutante, earlier this season among the try scorers. Setonians have lost some ground recently, though, with some Clovers and Wolfhounds squads being selected for that Celtic Challenge. Among them is senior capped hooker Sarah Delaney. She actually celebrated her 20th birthday just last Sunday. And on to the next match was Galwegians and UL Bows. We can spare a thought for Galwegians, who faced their 4th successive round against a team which currently is sitting in the top 4. So their scoring difference has taken a hit recently, and UL Bows are ominously well rested after missing out on that match against Setonians due to Storm Dara. But last season's corresponding fixture saw Galwegians suffer a heavy 58-5 defeat, but there are clear signs of progress under new head coach Jack Clark. Young talents like Sarah Purcell, Emily Foley and Roisin Marr are gaining invaluable All-Ireland League experience and providing hope for the future. UL Bows head coach Fiona Hayes will have likely rotated her squad wisely over the next few days, with that rescheduled match against Tullow, which takes place tonight. With the Celtic Challenge starting next week, Clovers call up Saoirse Crowe. She'll be eager to make an impression in the Red Robins front row. But we still have a few more matches to look at from the past weekend. But for now, here is a hilarious challenge. You've got to stay tuned for this one with some captains from the Energia AIL, where they are going to have to answer questions, but giving the wrong answers only. So this is definitely an entertaining one. So stay tuned and we'll be right back after this challenge.
I play for Ireland.
Indigo.
Belfast. Spain.
Belfast.
We're in Old Belvedere.
Soccer.
Dodgeball.
Gaelic.
Hockey.
Blackrock.
Blackrock.
Railway.
I play for Sligo Rugby Club.
Prop.
Scrum half.
Prop.
Centre.
8.
Potato.
7.
7.
Beyonce.
Sure.
Elvis Presley.
One Direction.
Green.
Rugby.
Indigo.
B6. Belva Black and White.
You're very welcome back to the HerSport Energia AIL Rugby Show. Fair play to the girls. They're great sports for playing that challenge and entertaining us. We hope you enjoyed that challenge video. And now we'll get back into all of the AIL action that's been happening over the last week. We've got 3 more matches to take a look at, starting with Railway Union versus Ballincollig. Railway Union 91, Ballincollig 0. The Railway Union dominance has just obviously continued to roll on since their latest result, seeing them rack up over 100 points against Cook in a relentless performance. So fair play to the girls. Ballincollig made their way to the capital for that game, but they are on an unfortunate losing streak, which has been sad to see, including that heavy 49-5 defeat to Wicklow a couple of weeks ago. Their defences have struggled to cope with Railway's formidable scoring power, led by 2 of the division's top try scorers. That's Amanda Berta with 11 tries, Lindsay Peat with 10. She's got 10 tries. So the standout performances, and the forwards Poppy Garvey and Patricia Doyle, that's earned them call-ups to the Wolfhounds for the Celtic Challenge. Anna Kavanagh, a Ballincollig debutante this season and their captain in the loss to Wicklow, reflected on her experience. So I'll just paraphrase her here, but it's been really great to get the AIL debut this season and to get the experience to see how people at this level operate. That's what she said. She also talked about heading into the second half of the season. She said hopefully it's a restart and we get a few people back from injury and get going again. So Hopefully that's the case. Moving on to Wicklow and Cook. Wicklow 64. Cook didn't get any points on the board, but of course they'll be hoping to get back to some winning ways with relegation back on the agenda this season. So that's certainly added more pressure to the team that's currently reside at the lower end of the table. But I suppose maybe part to blame for this could definitely be maybe the reduced squad numbers. You know, their biggest match day panel in this campaign was a squad of just 21 players. So that can't be easy on the team. Their numbers even dropped to 17 on one occasion. And on the Cook side, captain Megan Simpson, she'll be a player to watch for. She has actually a strong background, another one with a strong background in the Cook team. Her mother, Barbara, and sister, Jessica, they lined out for the Cook seconds team, but have since hung up their boots. But it's a nice background she has there. Simpson actually even gave up rugby, but after watching the 2017 Women's World Cup Finals day at Kingspan Stadium, she actually decided to make her return to rugby and play again, which I thought was so cool. But Cook have struggled in recent rounds, failing to score in the last 4 matches, which has been unfortunate. It even includes that heavy loss to defend against champions UL Bows. They're the table toppers, also Railway Union at home. Despite the lack of victories, though, the Ulster side has shown signs of improvement under the new head coach, Brian McLaughlin, who is the former Ulster men's head coach and even the Ireland skills coach. So he's doing good work there. But looking for Wicklow, they climbed back into 5th place after a dominant 44-point win over Ballincollig. They'll be playing at home again for the second consecutive week, or they did play at home again for the second consecutive week, and they maintain pressure on Old Belvo above them, with just 4 points separating them right now on the scoreboard. But in that match, 2 out of the 3 Griffey sisters that we mentioned, they put scores on the board. So that was Jessica and Caitlin Griffey. They were both scoring tries on the night, which was great to see. But with all that in mind, let's see how the teams are doing overall on the scoreboards. For anyone who's listening on Spotify, you can catch up on our YouTube channel to see that graphic on the screen. But for now, I will still read out them, so not to worry if you're listening in, we'll have a look at the scoreboard now. So we'll just take a look at the leaderboard there. No surprises to see Railway Union up the top with 43 points, followed by the rivals UL Bows. They've got 36 points there, so a bit of a difference between first and second place. Next, we've got Blackrock College, just 2 points behind UL Bows with 34 points. Then great to see Old Belvo have climbed their way up the leaderboard. They're sitting at 30 points there in 4th, followed by Wicklow coming in 5th with 26 points, so not too far behind Old Belvo there. Then in 6th place, we've got Galwegians. They're currently sitting with 17 points, so a bit of a drop between 5th and 6th position there. Then in 7th, we've got Setonians. They're just 5 points behind Galwegians with 12 points. Then in 8th, we've got Ballincollig with 8 points. And next, we've got Cook. They're sitting in 9th. They've got 5 points. And Tullow down in 10th with no points on the board at the moment. So that is the current point position of the teams. That's right before the Christmas break. So there'll be changes in the new year to the points on the board, but it's looking to be panning out the way that we might have expected. Railway and UL Bows up the first top 2 there. So looking a little similar to last season as well. So up next, we've got an exciting segment for you this week, which features Railway Union players Emily Gavin and Niamh Byrne. So a little background before we show it. It's Emily and Niamh. Emily is a flanker for Railway Union and a Connacht player, and even previously played for Galwegians. And then Niamh is the captain of Railway Union and is a former Ireland Sevens and Leinster player. So do stay tuned for this because it's a great one. The girls are great and it's just cool to see the players outside of their, comfort zone of being on the pitch. It's cool to see their personalities, which really shine through here. So enjoy this one and we'll be right back.
You've been making waves into the AIL this year with Railway Union. ChatGPT tells me you're an up-and-coming star. And I think after your performance in Belfast at the weekend with one specific moment in particular that we'll touch on, I thought it'd be a great person to have on this and kind of hear about your experiences and how you got into rugby. So without further ado, I might ask you to just introduce yourself, tell us a bit of background, and then we'll get into the rugby.
Thank you for the lovely introduction. That was very kind. And thank you for having me on for your first podcast. Usually you go best to last, but I mean best to start. Why not? So my name is Emily Gavin. I am from Galway, most specifically Bandaslow, the heartbeat of Ireland, I would say. But yeah, I started playing rugby when I was 13 years old. I would have grown up playing a lot of different sports, mostly camogie, football, all the country sports. And then all of a sudden this new wave came through called rugby. And I said I'd give it a go. We started the underage team that year. So I started the first year, we started the underage team and we went from there. But yeah, I'm 23 from Galway. I am currently a working professional. I work with Intercom in Galway or in Dublin, and yeah, that's the general spiel.
That's the whole life story squeezed into I guess maybe we'll start with rugby, and then I think obviously, as you did mention, you have a full-time job, and we can kind of hear how you blend those in a few minutes. But I guess in terms of this season, so I know you actually moved up to Railway from Galwegians last year, had a bit of a bad ankle break last year, so we'll take this as your kind of first season in Railway, let's say. But I think you have actually been very involved, playing really well, and how has the season been going?
Yeah, loving it. It's great. As we said, last season didn't even happen. Unfortunately, I had moved up, so I graduated 2 years ago. I moved up to Dublin, got a new job, joined Railway, and unfortunately, third game in, about 6 minutes, broke my ankle, which wasn't the most ideal start to a new club. But thankfully, this season, knocking on wood there, just in case, it's been going really well. I've been absolutely loving it. Game time has been fantastic. I haven't been the luckiest injuries with my whole career, but this season has been worth it. Honestly, it's been worth the persistence through all the injuries, and I'm loving the team. I'm loving the coaching. It's tough, but it's exactly what I wanted. And yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're almost halfway through the season and we're unbeaten so far. So good so far.
Perfect. And I think we won't dwell on the bad news and the injuries, but I guess in a year where you join a new club and then you end up with a long-term injury, I guess how did you stay connected? Did you kind of remain part of the club and get that club feel maybe?
Yeah, of course. That is so important to stay involved in some sort of way, even if it's just showing up to the training for 10 minutes, saying hello to the girls. Because I had broken it so soon into the season, it was a group of people who I unfortunately didn't get to know on the pitch. So it was really just putting myself of meeting you socially, going to the trainings and making my face there. Even if I was only just showing up and leaving again and not saying hello to anyone, letting the people know that I was still a part of the club and that I was still fully committed was so important. And thankfully they all accepted me in, and I came back again this year. Now I get to know them on the pitch too, which is fantastic. So not only socially, I'm also playing with them.
Play a bit of rugby with us.
Yeah, a little bit of rugby with them as well. The main point of joining a new club.
And I think then kind of still sticking with rugby, but maybe moving on to last weekend. I believe that we obviously are a hooker by trade, but I think referencing a specific moment of the cup game last weekend, I don't know if we can get a clip up, but in terms of a certain chip and chase from a hooker, tell us what was going through your head in the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be a chip and chase, more like a chip and hope for the best. But yeah, I mean, I've always loved that dynamic hooker position, like the likes of Kelleher in there, or even Keith Wood, like that old style of the hooker who's on the loose. I love that. And yeah, I mean, made a little break. I knew I wasn't pace-wise going to make it to that try line, but I mean, a little kick through to Bowlesy. Who else would you want? I trust Bowlesy with my life at the end of that kick. So as soon as I kicked it, I knew she was going to get that and score the try. So yeah, I mean, a little bit rogue, but I love that. I think I have to owe a lot of it to my old coach, Dermot Tierney. He let me rogue out on the pitch, whatever I wanted to do. So thankfully, underage, I was given that permission, and there's still a little bit in me of that. But yeah, I mean, why not?
For anyone listening at this point who doesn't know, we're railway teammates.
Yeah.
As Emily is chipping, chasing, and Bowlesy is gathering for a try, I was about 20 meters behind going, oh my god.
Yeah.
So I'll have more faith, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Trust me, don't worry, I got it.
Would it be your most memorable moment of the season, or would there be something there that would replace that moment?
There's more to come. That's only the start of
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably maybe two last AIL specific questions, and we'll kind of keep going then. In terms of kind of pre-game rituals, meals, is there anything in particular that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the same pair of LA Gear undershorts that I wear pretty much every single match. I think I got them when I was 14 at Sports Direct with my mom. So that is, I don't know if it's much of a ritual, but it's just, I wear them every match. I just feel they bring me luck. They've been with me thick and thin, they've been there. But apart from that, not really. I kind of feel whatever I'm feeling on the day. If I'm too hyped, I bring myself down. If I'm too down, I bring myself back up. I kind of feel what I need in the moment. But no, I'm not much of a girl of rituals. I'm not lighting the candles or anything before the match. So
Okay, no, very, very good. And I think then I don't think we can go on without mentioning you obviously were called into the Celtic Cup for the first time. It's a big Clover's debut, hopefully on the cards over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I guess it is early days. I know there's a lot of travel and commitments there, but have you been enjoying it so far?
Yeah, so far so good. We're 2 weeks in, new team, new people. Right now it's kind of in that adjustment period, but I mean, it's great to play with such talented players around me is fantastic, and getting to know each other and putting myself out there and trying my best as well, not only pushing within the team, but pushing my own ability is fantastic. But yeah, so far so good. There's a lot to come. Watch this space. Hopefully we can get off to a good start. We're playing the Wolfhounds on the 22nd, so we'll give them a good go.
And I think everyone still in the AIL will miss obviously all the Celtic Cuppers, but I think it's a great opportunity, and so we do wish you well there. I think to kind of move away from rugby, and I think this is where your insights will be very interesting. You obviously do work a full-time job. I think AIL is, albeit a very serious hobby, it is actually a hobby at the end of the days, and there's an awful lot of people who kind of make a lot of time management skills work maybe, and kind of do a lot of balancing, shall I say. So how do you kind of do all of this? How do you keep your day job going? What does your kind of standard week look like in terms of rugby and work and whatnot?
Yeah, sure. I'm juggling 5 balls there most of the time, but yeah, it's tough. I think everyone who's in that professional environment knows how hard it is to balance high elite sport outside of that. So right now I work long days so I can make up for my days that I'm training down in Limerick, which is tough. Most days I'm doing a 7 till 10 p.m. all the way through. It's hard, but I think there's only a couple years you can do that. And right now I'm just saying it's going to be this way for the next few months. You got to push through, you got to keep trying. If you don't try, you'll never know. But so far, I mean, it's working. I'm tired from time to time, but it's worth it. It's worth the high level playing sport, and thankfully my job are so flexible with me that they're understanding that I am doing a lot outside of my professional environment. So yeah, I'm very lucky with where I work, very lucky with my manager. It's great. Yeah.
Amazing. And I think it is that mindset, that like kind of determination that you always want to be challenged and kind of keep moving up levels, that has probably got you kind of through many of your successes onto the Connacht team in the past few Interpro seasons, Celtic Cup, etc. I think we might now move to a quick fire round. So Emily, also again from viewers, we are also housemates. So we're housemates, friends. So you cannot lie in quick fire when you But we'll play a few minutes of this, and then we're going to touch on maybe some words of wisdom, because you're an old soul at heart, and we will kind of close this out. But it's been great getting to know you. So without further ado, are we ready?
I'm never born ready.
Born ready.
Born
Line
ready.
out from
Oh, line out.
pre-match snack,
Pancakes.
hype song.
Eminem, Lose Yourself.
Oh, interesting. Favorite nickname.
Oh, nickname. Let's go just Gav.
Okay, least favorite nickname. No, I only joke. If you had to have a dream front row prop pairing with you there, who would it be? Past or present?
Has to be Pete's up there. Pete's one, and then let's go. Oh, that's tough. Pete's and let's Pete's and let's go with Sive McGrath. I think she's class. Yeah.
Very good. Hidden talent.
I can solve a Rubik's Cube.
Very good. Go-to try celebration.
Doesn't happen too often. I've been waiting to bust out a little tumble, but I haven't been confident enough to do it yet. But I'm not much of a maybe a little finger gun.
We know you like the finger guns. We know. We've seen the huddle. Okay, and last one, rugby idol.
I would have to say Clean and Maloney.
Very good. Very good. Railway all around on this podcast today. Won't be the case always, though. Your idol being Clean Maloney, obviously the Irish hooker, an ex-Railway player there. I think you've obviously had good exposure of playing with a number of internationals throughout the AIL League this year. How has kind of playing with those international players maybe helped develop your game, maybe make you more comfortable as you go into Celtic Cup and those higher levels of rugby?
Yeah, I mean, I've been super lucky with the players that I've been privileged to play with. I started my AIL career off in Galway Regions, of course, where I had the likes of Nicole Fowley, Mairead Coyne. Like, they were absolutely phenomenal for coming in from being a 20-year-old girl to wanting to go somewhere in rugby, and to have their insight into that international setup from the get-go was absolutely amazing. But having said that, they were all backs. I didn't really get that forward exposure until I joined Railway, and then of course I had the likes of Lindsay Peets, I had Katie O'Dwyer, Claire Bowles, who I mentioned earlier. So to come into these international forwards, I mean, that was the coolest thing ever for me. Peets, she'll probably kill me, but she would have been someone who I would have watched growing up and who I would have admired growing up. And when I got that injury first, I was devastated because my goal was to play with her. So once I got back playing after the broken ankle, we went and we played Belvedere, and I got a photo with Pete's after the match. I was absolutely buzzing. It was so cool. It was so cool. Yeah. And she'll kill me for saying that because I'm acting like a little fangirl. But her, not only on the pitch, she off the pitch is an absolute amazing human, and I think having that representation in my life has been really, really great. So yeah, big shout out to Pete's. But I mean, to fill that jersey of Clean Maloney past Railway, of course, was also a privilege. To play in potentially the same jerseys that she would have played in is so cool. So yeah, it's been absolutely amazing, and I would only hope that I could be that person for someone else coming up in the future. But yeah, that.
Very good. I think that's a nice little shout out to the forwards and to Pete, who needs no more confidence.
Yeah.
Or confidence. And I think one other thing that we've been kind of touching on is that inclusivity in sport, inclusivity in rugby in particular. Obviously, there is a spot for everyone. It helps you, as you've said, in your professional life, kind of across the board. I think being part of a team is really beneficial, especially to young girls playing. And I think I'm just, I guess, interested to kind of hear more about that inclusivity angle. How do we keep people involved? How do we keep growing this AIL game and get those girls playing sport?
Yeah, I mean, I think the women's rugby community in Ireland is absolutely amazing because, first of all, majority of the people who play rugby are a very specific type of girl, which in a way is a very open person, someone who is open to all types. And I think that is fantastic. So to keep it going, I mean, I think we just got to keep encouraging, keep getting them young girls in, no matter how tall, how small, how whatever, it doesn't matter. I think we need to get everyone in. There's a place for everyone on the pitch. It doesn't matter your identity, it doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, where you've come from. That place in rugby is there for you. And once you join a rugby team, you go from having one family to two families. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. So I think we just got to keep encouraging them young girls, getting them in, showing them why we love rugby, because we're all here because we love it. So showing them that, I mean, they'll never leave once they see it. I know I got stuck anyway. I joined, I never went back.
The best of us. It becomes your whole life.
Yeah.
It's fine. The Energia AIL final is scheduled for April in the Aviva Stadium again. We obviously were there last year together, unfortunate in the result, but I guess we look to April and kind of how we're going to get there, what it would mean to kind of walk out onto that pitch again and hopefully have a different result for you. What are your thoughts there?
Last year it was very disappointing. I had just made it back from my injury. It was my third game back, and I don't think there was one dry eye after that match. It was tough, but I think that toughness is what drives us. Once you lose, you don't want to lose again. So I think a lot of us have taken that in our stride coming back this year. You can feel it within the team that we left something behind that day, and we're not going to do that again. I know we're not. And that communal effort is being put in currently and is going to be put in until April to get us to that finish line. So that hard work is going to bring us there, and that I know we're a good team. We're well able. We're more than capable of getting over the line. So yeah, just believing that. We're manifesting.
You could achieve it. And finally, I think you are actually a very insightful person, full of wisdom. And I think a question maybe to anyone who's listening, who's thinking about playing a sport, be it rugby or something else, or maybe inspired by your words so far, kind of what would you say to those people picking up that rugby ball, getting involved with the team?
I mean, I just think do it. Like, I think it comes from a place a lot of the time of parents being hesitant of allowing their daughters to play rugby or play any sport really, but that communal feeling you get in sport is something that cannot be replicated even in a professional environment, any environment. I think when you're there through thick and thin with your teammates, you build a bond that is you can't replicate it. It's amazing. And I really think even if you're not the best player on the pitch, once you're a part of that team, you're a working cog. You're making it happen. And I just think go for it. Why not try it out? If you hate it after a couple of weeks, then you can leave. It's not the end of the world. Nothing is permanent. And I think go for it.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it there well. I think especially with in terms of rugby, there's always an ability, there's a position for every ability, every person. So I do think it's good. I think it can be a hooker who chips. You can do whatever you want, Emily.
Yeah, it's true.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. Wish you the very best with the Celtic Cup and the kind of rest of the season, and I will see you for dinner.
Great. Thank you so much, Niamh.
I love seeing the girls interview each other, and it's so obvious that there's a team bond that they have. Make sure if you're listening on Spotify to check us out on YouTube to catch that clip. But we're coming to the end of this episode of the HerSport Energia AIL Rugby Show, brought to you by Energia. And 2024 has been an incredible year for women's rugby. But we do have to round it off for this year with an excellent past few matches these weeks. But for now, let's take a look at what we can look forward to in the new year and expect from the teams in the matches coming up. So just taking a look at those fixtures that'll be coming up in the new year. First, Ballincollig and Cook will face off. Now this match is scheduled ahead of the other ones. Now that's just because it's a rescheduled match because of Storm Dara a couple of weeks ago. So that first one will be on Saturday, the 4th of January. Again, it's Ballincollig versus Cook at 5 in Tanner Park. Then following up with the other matches, it'll be the week after, and it'll be Saturday the 11th of January. We'll see Ballincollig again, but this time they'll take on Railway Union. That's at 5 in Tanner Park. Then Cook will take on Wicklow at 5 in Shaw's Bridge. Then Setonians versus Blackrock at 5 in JJ McDowell Memorial Grounds. Then we have Tullow take on Old Belvo at 5 in the Black Gates. And finally, UL Bows versus Galwegians at 5 in UL. Well, that is all from us on today's episode. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channels to never miss an episode. Thank you guys for joining us, and we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year from all of us here at HerSport.